Chapter 62. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Translator, Transin Editor, Transin, having trained at King Mount for 3 days, Zhang Ruo Chen had killed 13 superior class level 1 savage beasts and 25 medium class level 1 savage beasts. Finally, he came across his first second-level savage beast, a silver dragon lion. A single second-level savage beast was at least at the level of a Black Realm warrior. The silver dragon lion's attack power was comparable to that of an advanced Black Realm warrior. Its speed was also comparable to that of an advanced Black Realm warrior, and its defensive power was comparable to that of an initial stage Black Realm warrior. Overall, the silver dragon lion had immense strength. If a mid-stage Black Realm warrior was to run into one, it would essentially be a death sentence. Other than Zhang Ruo Chen, if any other warrior at the completion of the Yellow Realm had run into the silver dragon lion, even if they formed an elite team of 20, they would still be wiped out. AO. The silver dragon lion roared loudly and the sound waves from its mouth became a devastating hurricane. On the ground, dust and rocks flew up, while the surrounding trees were blown crooked, and all the leaves fell down leaving behind only stripped branches. With only a loud roar, it could shock all warriors below the advanced stage of the Yellow Realm into a dead faint. The silver dragon lion was 4 meters tall and 6 meters long. Compared to a normal lion, it was many times larger. It was just like a small silver mountain standing in front of Zhang Ruo Chen. Its pair of silver lion eyes were as big as Zhang Ruo Chen's head, and they were emitting a bloodthirsty aura. Boom! Each step it made upon the ground made the earth shake slightly. Zhang Ruo Chen rose onto his toes and leaped up, landing on the silver dragon lion's back. Gathering his genuine chi, he aimed a strike at its head. The silver dragon lion, who was very intelligent, instantly realized the danger it was in. Thus, pushing off with all 4 hooves at the same time, it surged forward, achieving speeds of 30 meters per second, astonishingly fast. Caught off guard, Zhang Ruo Chen lost his balance and fell off the beast's back. He struck out with one hand against the ground and instantly righted himself. He backed up until he was 3 meters away and stopped. However, he remained alert, both legs slightly bent with genuine chi collecting thickly in his palms. It is indeed an adult silver dragon lion whose speed has reached 30 meters per second. Normal warriors who had reached the completion of the Yellow Realm could reach speeds of 20 meters per second or so. Talented warriors who had reached the completion of the Yellow Realm could reach speeds of 22 meters per second. Even Zhang Ruo Chen could only reach speeds of 27 meters per second, an already incredible feat. 30 meters per second and 27 meters per second didn't to be much different, but in reality, the difference was immense. If Zhang Ruo Chen and the silver dragon lion were competing in a 100-meter race, by the time the silver dragon lion had reached the end, Zhang Ruo Chen would still be a full 10 meters behind, which was to say, if Zhang Ruo Chen's strength could not defeat the silver dragon lion, then he would die for sure, as he would not even be able to escape. At this moment, Zhang Ruo Chen and the silver dragon lion were 3 meters apart, but with the silver dragon lion's speed, it only needed a second to be right in front of Zhang Ruo Chen. Zhang Ruo Chen watched the silver dragon lion's every move carefully. Once the silver dragon lion prepared to attack, he must strike first to have any hope of success. AO. The silver dragon lion roared. Turning into a silver blur, it pounced towards Zhang Ruo Chen. Silver claws slashed through void space and emitted 4 sharp beams of power. Zhang Ruo Chen took a step to the side and dodged the attack. Bang! The silver dragon lion's claw landed on a tree the thickness of a water barrel and tore a branch of it apart with bits of bark flying everywhere. The branch broke in the middle and crashed down, elephant galloping. Zhang Ruo Chen took this opportunity to strike. With all the power in his body, he struck at the silver dragon lion's abdomen and sent it flying. The silver dragon lion was incensed. Clambering up from the ground, it went to attack Zhang Ruo Chen, but Zhang Ruo Chen attacked first. Another elephant galloping. The silver dragon lion flew out once again, elephant galloping. Elephant galloping. Zhang Ruo Chen attacked 12 times in succession. Each time it sent the silver dragon lion flying out. When Zhang Ruo Chen struck for the 13th time, the silver dragon lion was finally wounded. With blood dripping out of its nostrils, the silver dragon lion was finally angered. Its body began to emit a layer of silver light. Opening its mouth, it spewed forth a beam of silver light that flew towards Zhang Ruochen's heart like a sword. Oh no! Zhang Ruochen pushed off with his legs and jumped over 10 meters into the air, landing on a branch of a 1,000-year-old tree, and dodged the silver dragon lion's attack. Boom! The silver light sword hit the place where Zhang Ruochen was standing on just before, making a cacophonous noise. On the ground, it left a crater with a diameter of 1 meter dragon in the sky. Zhang Ruochen leaped down from the tree branch. All the genuine chi from his body surged through the 36 meridians and focused toward his hands. He let out a deep, dragon-like roar. Bang! One hand struck the silver dragon lion's back, creating a sound of bones breaking and splintering. The silver dragon lion let out a wail and fell heavily to the ground. Its spine had been broken by Zhang Ruochen with one strike. Heavily wounded, it lay on the ground, unable to even stand up. Zhang Ruochen was overjoyed. Using just the power in his body, he could heavily wound the silver dragon lion. If he used the sword, he could probably kill the silver dragon lion in just 10 strokes. At my current strength, even if I am no match against warriors of the advanced stage of the Black Realm, I can at least hold my own for a while. With this battle against the silver dragon lion, Zhang Ruochen could clearly feel that his control over the dragon and elephant prajna palm had become stronger. Zhang Ruochen drew out his flash-shining sword and with one sweep, he slit the throat of the silver dragon lion. Not long after, the silver dragon lion completely died. After that, Zhang Ruochen made a foot-long incision into the abdomen of the silver dragon lion and withdrew a fist-sized piece of flesh. This piece of flesh was extremely hard and as heavy as iron. It emitted a silvery light and carried a light fragrance. It was like a spiritual dose rather than flesh. The silver dragon lion was worthy of being a second-level savage beast, as it was able to actually grow half a caddy of spiritual brawn. Zhang Ruochen held the silver spiritual brawn in his hand, revealing the glimmer of a smile. Spiritual brawn was the most precious treasure inside a savage beast. If a warrior consumed spiritual brawn, it could increase the power in their bodies and cultivation realms. If a normal person consumed the spiritual brawn, it could strengthen their physique and grant longevity. The half caddy of spiritual brawn in Zhang Ruochen's hand, if taken to be sold at the martial market, could be at least sold for 3,000 silver coins. Furthermore, spiritual crystal stones could often be found inside spiritual brawn. Even the lowest quality spiritual brawn was worth 1,000 silver scions. For Zhang Ruochen, this piece of spiritual brawn was not very useful. He planned to take it home and give it to concubine Lin to consume. As long as the spiritual brawn was stored within a jade container, even if it was stored for a month, the spiritual brawn would not rot or degrade in quality. To refine the spatial ring, Zhang Ruochen had purchased a number of jade containers. He took a jade box out from the time and space spinel's internal storage and placed the spiritual brawn inside. There were treasures to be found all over the silver dragon lion's body. The skin, fur, blood, and bone could all be used in medicine, and be sold for a hefty price. However, Zhang Ruochen's main purpose of coming to King Mount was to practice dragon and elephant prajnapam, and so, he did not take the silver dragon lion body with him. Not long after Zhang Ruochen left, a group of soldiers wearing armor came to the silver dragon lion's body. General Guqian walked out from the group of soldiers, looked at the silver dragon lion lying in a pool of blood, and said, "He is really strong that he even killed a silver dragon lion. If he enters the Black Realm, who knows how powerful he will become. Let alone his Majesty, even I am eager to see." The royal guards beside him couldn't help but sigh, thinking it was unbelievable. It had never been heard of before, that a warrior who was at the completion of the Yellow Realm could kill a silver dragon lion. This kind of impossible thing was right now staring them in the face. General Guqian ordered and said, "Do the same with the bodies of the previous savage beasts. Take the body of the silver dragon lion home, deliver it to the Imperial Finance Department, and convert it to silver coins. Once the 9th prince has finished practicing, I will personally hand the coins over to him. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible." Chapter 63. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Translator, Transin Editor, Transin. Zhang Ruochen had isolated himself and practiced in Mount King for the past 10 days, in order to work on his palm technique. He had killed another 2 second-level savage beasts and 17 superior class level 1 savage beasts. The second-level and first-level superior class savage beasts in King Mount had probably all been killed by Zhang Ruo Chen. It seemed that the low-level savage beasts in King Mount knew a killing star had arrived. Once they saw Zhang Ruo Chen, they all ran away instantly as if they saw a monster demon. Clank. There was a 7 or 8 meters wide river rushing down from the top of the peak and delivered a sound of water rumbling. By throwing a stone into the river, it hit the forceful water current and started rolling in the water. Zhang Ruo Chen arrived at the riverside. He looked at the rushing of water as if his heart was surging as well. After all the cultivation recently, Zhang Ruo Chen could feel clearly that he had reached the edge of breaking through the palm technique. He dashed from the ground and jumped into the river. He made use of his powerful body so as to resist the force of the river. Boom. His genuine chi had been activated. He unleashed a powerful palm out. The water in the river had stopped slightly because of his palm. Shortly after, the current turned fiercely toward Zhang Ruo Chen and threw him out. The forceful water flow had knocked out his bearings and threw him on the edge of the riverside. After spitting out a mouth of water, Zhang Ruo Chen jumped back to the river. He went against the current with different palm techniques in order to make a way for himself. This time, he unleashed 3 palms consecutively. Again, he was thrown out by the water waves. Zhang Ruo Chen kept going upstream every time he was knocked down. Zhang Ruo Chen hadn't given up after being knocked down over and over again. The longer he practiced, the longer he could stay in the river. It had been a whole day since Zhang Ruo Chen had confronted the water. He was exhausted and his entire body was covered in wounds. After nightfall, he uncovered a piece of spiritual brawn from a cyanide snake, a second-level savage beast. He ate the spiritual brawn, sat down and started meditating so as to absorb the spiritual chi which helped to recover his physical strength and energy. The next morning, the wounds on Zhang Ruo Chen's body were all healed. His body was full of genuine chi and vitality. He then jumped back into the river and continued practicing. On the 5th day, there was a long cry from the river. Dragon and elephant returning to earth, Zhang Ruo Chen unleashed both of his palms at the same time. A rushing palm force struck out hard and gave out a sound as if dragons and elephants were roaring together. Surprisingly, the water he smacked began to flow backward. Dragon and elephant returning to earth, the 3rd palm technique of the dragon and elephant prajna palm, cultivated successfully. Zhang Ruo Chen had exploded out with the strength of 100 bulls and reached the ultimate realm of the yellow realm. At this moment, the spiritual chi in the entire Mount King had activated and gathered toward Zhang Ruo Chen. It turned into a white light beam and streaked toward the 100 miles tall void space. There were ancient illusory images displayed around the light beam. Some of them were in human and dragon figures, some were like wind and Kylin. Each of the illusory images was sacred. They demonstrated a sense of power as if they were the manifestation of gods. We are the manifestation of gods. Kneel. General Gu Qian and a troop of royal guards all kneeled down and worshipped the illusory images of the gods devotedly from far away. Such a manifest of gods normally happened only when it came to a large-scale sacrifice. The illusory images of gods had appeared in Mount King and floated above the 9th prince's head. It was definitely a miracle for the entire Yunwu commandery. It's true that it'll arouse the chords of the gods when I reach the ultimate realm. Zhang Ruo Chen looked at the illusory image of gods in the sky with excitement. Finally, he made his first step on the path of being a powerful warrior. Boom. The illusory images of gods had turned into light beams. They floated to Zhang Ruo Chen's glabella and chiseled into his chi pool. Boom. The light beams exploded and displayed a white spiritual odor after plunging into Zhang Ruo Chen's chi pool. The chi pool had nearly burst because of the too much light beam. The blood in his body kept rolling and rolling. In this case, let's break through to the Black Realm. Zhang Ruo Chen surely would not let such a good opportunity go. He sat in the water, and quickly activated the 36 meridians in his body. He then absorbed the strength of gods and started breaking through the Black Realm. Zhang Ruo Chen had already reached the ultimate realm of the Yellow Realm. On top of the help of the god's spiritual power, it was no doubt that he would be able to break through to the Black Realm with no setbacks. After an hour, Zhang Ruo Chen's chi pool shook heavily and cracked into breaches. Boom. His chi pool smashed and had broken into pieces. Soon after, the broken pieces restructured at high speed and resolved to a much bigger chi pool. No, not chi pool, it should be called chi lake. Zhang Ruo Chen had successfully broken through the Black Realm. Therefore, the chi pool in his glabella turned into a chi lake. It had enlarged 100 times more than when he was at the completion of the Yellow Realm. The marks of gods were stamped on the wall of his chi lake and displayed a gleam of spiritual splendor. Yet, the marks of gods looked so faint and vague that one would probably miss it without taking a closer look. Be mindful, Zhang Ruo Chen had just reached the ultimate realm of the Yellow Realm and had drawn the court of gods for the very first time. Therefore, having a vague mark of gods was seen as normal. It was said that if Zhang Ruo Chen could reach the ultimate realm of the Black Realm, he would be able to resonate the second time of the court of gods. Hence, it would definitely deepen the marks of gods in his chi lake. The number of warriors who had cultivated to the ultimate realm was scattered after the ancient times. Only a small number of saints and the great emperor with astonished talent had finished cultivating the ultimate realm and resonated the court of gods when they were young, yet, the saint and the great emperor didn't expose many details about what had happened in their young age. It was impossible to record it in history books and thus no one knew any other details. It was no doubt magnificent for Zhang Ruo Chen to resonate the court of gods after all these years. However, it was beyond the bounds of possibility to make it happen again. Not even the great emperor and saint, the ultimate realm of the Black Realm was far more difficult to cultivate compared to the ultimate realm of the Yellow Realm. Even though Zhang Ruo Chen had already reached the ultimate realm of the Yellow Realm, he wasn't confident enough to break through the ultimate realm of the Black Realm, wreathed in the light of gods, shielded by the gods. Is this the Holy Light Spirit Lake in the ancient myth? In Zhang Ruo Chen's last lifetime, Emperor Ming had once mentioned the Holy Light Spirit Lake. It was said that when Emperor Ming was young, he had resonated the court of gods and received the safeguard of gods. His chi lake then turned into the Holy Light Spirit Lake. Once the Holy Light Spirit Lake had been cultivated, the chi lake would become tenacious. Even warriors of the Earth Realm would not be able to pierce up Zhang Ruo Chen's chi lake. Moreover, when Zhang Ruo Chen obtained the higher cultivation, the advantage of having the Holy Light Spirit Lake would be more obvious. Zhang Ruo Chen had spent the entire day and night to digest the power of the court of gods. The genuine chi in the chi lake seemed to be filled up. In other words, Zhang Ruo Chen had reached the peak of the initial stage of the Black Realm. Soon after he would be able to break through the mid-stage of the Black Realm. This is certainly a Holy Light Spirit Lake. Compared to the warriors at the initial stage of the Black Realm, the capacity of my chi lake is 10 times more and the purity of my genuine chi is far better. I guess it's more or less the same as warriors at the completion of the Black Realm. The capacity of the chi pool of an ordinary warrior would enlarge 10 times by breaking through from the completion of the Yellow Realm to the initial stage of the Black Realm. Since Zhang Ruo Chen had cultivated the ultimate realm which was one realm higher than ordinary warriors, the capacity of his chi pool had enlarged twice. Therefore, compared to the warriors at the initial stage of the Black Realm, the capacity of his chi lake was 10 times more. While Zhang Ruo Chen was breaking through the realm in the water, General Gu Qian rushed back to the royal palace and wanted to report to the commandery Prince Yun with the good news. I have something important to report to His Majesty. Eunuch Chao, please help to inform the commandery prince. Gu Qian looked urgent and said Eunuch Chao was allied with the queen. Knowing Gu Qian was responsible for protecting the 9th prince, he would no doubt ignore Gu Qian. His Majesty is resting at the moment. I'm afraid he will not be able to see you, my general. Please head back to your station and protect the 9th prince. Gu Qian stared at Eunuch Chao angrily and said, Chao Shiren, you'd better go inform His Majesty now. If anything happens because of your delay, you'll surely be dead. Eunuch Chao was known as a warrior at the dawn state of the Black Realm. Although he wasn't strong enough to fight against Gu Qian, he wasn't afraid of confronting Gu Qian. At the same time, the voice of the commandery Prince Yun broke out. He said, who's making so much noise? Eunuch Chao stared at Gu Qian severely and whispered, let's see how you settle for disturbing His Majesty. Gu Qian didn't even look at Eunuch Chao but greeted towards the palace. He said, Your Majesty, your servant Gu Qian has something vital to report. The voice of the commandery Prince Yun broke out to the palace and he said, Gu Qian, aren't you protecting the 9th prince? What's more important than protecting my son? Or have you encountered another assassin who attempts to kill the ninth prince? More important than all of these. Guqian exclaimed and said, it seemed that the commandery Prince Yunwu had noticed something had happened. He called in Guqian right away. Hearing what Guqian had said, eunuch Chao changed his face. He followed Guqian and entered the palace. Guqian glanced slightly at eunuch Chao and said, Your Majesty, what I'm about to report is exceptionally important. I can only tell you, Your Majesty, not anyone else. The commandery Prince Yunwu sat on the top part of the palace holding a golden booklet. He frowned his eyebrows and took a quick glance at Guqian. Dismiss everyone. I need some privacy with the general. Eunuch Chao was not willing to leave the palace. Yet, he dared not to disobey the order of the commandery Prince Yunwu and left the palace instantly. The commandery Prince Yunwu asked, Guqian, you can tell me now. What's wrong? Guqian kneeled down single-legged and reported to the commandery Prince Yunwu what he saw in Mount King without missing any details. The Court of Gods. Hearing this, the commandery Prince Yunwu couldn't stay calm anymore. His whole body shivered and stood up all of a sudden. Guqian nodded and said, Yes. I'm sure the ninth prince has reached the ultimate realm like what the myth describes and thus resonate the Court of Gods. The commandery Prince Yunwu's countenance kept changing. Having noticed how vital the news was, he asked, Does anyone else know about it? Guqian answered, Other than myself, the 10 royal guards who were stationed there with me also notice it. The commandery Prince Yunwu said, The Court of Gods is a tremendous thing. This news has to be completely secret. Guqian, what should we do about the 10 people who know about the ninth prince? In other words, what the commandery Prince Yunwu meant was how to handle Guqian. Guqian clearly understood how things worked and thought for a moment. There was a sense of determination in his eyes. He said, Killed. The commandery Prince Yunwu nodded and said, Guqian, I know you've always been a loyal general. Yet, if the news about my son leaks out, all assassins will no doubt get him killed. Why don't you and the other 10 royal guards watch over the Ancestor Temple at Mount Emperor and never come back? In this case, my son, you, and the 10 guards will all be safe. Yes, Your Majesty. Guqian answered. Then, the commandery Prince Yunwu and Guqian rushed to Mount King. They wanted to make sure if the ninth prince had truly resonated the Court of Gods. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 64. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Translator, Transin Editor, Transin, swoosh. Zhang Ruo Chen leapt from the water. Then he turned in the air and landed on the riverside. The white genuine chi spewed out from his pores, drying up his wet clothes in a second. Having reached the black realm, he was able to drizzle genuine chi as the genuine chi in his body was so solid, or turn the genuine chi into a chi sword and killed people through the air. Zhang Ruo Chen activated the genuine chi in his body and transferred it to the meridians on his right hand. A gleam of white gas had gathered at the fingertip of his index finger. He dashed toward the iron pine 10 meters away. Boom. The white chi sword had broken the tree trunk of the iron pine and left a fist-sized hole. It's a fairly average sword breath with such massive power. No doubt it's incomparable between warriors at the Black Realm and the Yellow Realm. If I cultivate the sword ripple of 10 channels, a martial technique of the superior class at the spiritual stage and put the chi sword in use, I wonder how powerful it's going to be. In Zhang Ruochen's last lifetime, he had cultivated the sword ripple of 10 channels. He had turned all his 10 fingers into swords. With a random point, he would be able to display a sharp chi sword that could kill people 100 meters away, yet, the sword ripple of 10 channels was extremely hard to cultivate. Even though Zhang Ruochen had successfully cultivated it in his previous life, it's surely not an easy task to achieve that technique again. At this moment, he felt like someone was coming over, so he retrieved all the genuine chi back to his body. The commandery Prince Yunwu walked toward Zhang Ruochen and glanced at him from head to toes. He nodded with satisfaction and asked, Did you break through to the Black Realm? Zhang Ruochen didn't say much but nodded slightly. Zhang Ruochen didn't have much affection toward the commandery Prince Yunwu. Yet, he could feel how much the Commandery Prince Yunwu cared about him and thus he respected him a lot. The Commandery Prince Yunwu said, "Attack me with your strongest power." Zhang Ruo Chen took a quick glance at him and said, "Okay." Having reached the initial stage of the Black Realm, Zhang Ruo Chen was eager to test his ability and see how far it could go, since he clearly knew that the Commandery Prince Yunwu would do whatever it took to protect him and would never hurt him. He was safe to display everything he had in front of the Commandery Prince Yunwu. Swish. Zhang Ruo Chen exploded his speed to the highest point that it exceeded 10 meters per second. He unleashed a palm toward the Commandery Prince Yunwu's chest. Dragon and elephant returning to earth, the palm he displayed was the strongest with gigantic power. The bones and muscles in his body had all given out the sound of dragons and elephants roaring together. The forceful palm wind forced the sand to flow in clouds. Even though Zhang Ruochen's palm had unleashed on the Commandery Prince Yunwu, he neither moved an inch nor fought back. Boom. When Zhang Ruochen had released the palm on the Commandery Prince Yunwu's body, a vigorous power exploded from the Commandery Prince Yunwu. Zhang Ruochen was thrown out far. The spiritual blood in his body kept rolling and he fell to the ground in an awkward position. He couldn't help but retreat 10 steps back so as to dissipate the powerful force. The Commandery Prince Yunwu nodded and said, "Not bad. The power of your palm is stronger than most of the warriors at the advanced stage of the Black Realm. It's even more intense than some of the weaker warriors at the dawn state of the Black Realm. Moreover, your biggest advantage is not your power, but your mastery of power and your sword technique, which is the same as a warrior at the Earth Realm. All in all, I guess the warriors at the dawn state of the Black Realm will not be able to defeat you. I guess you've indeed cultivated the ultimate realm of the Yellow Realm. Otherwise, you won't be able to obtain such power." Zhang Ruochen thought, "No doubt that I startled the Commandery Prince Yunwu when I resonated the Court of Gods." The Commandery Prince Yunwu looked at Zhang Ruochen with a softness in his eye. "With your talent, your achievement in the future will definitely be beyond me. Staying in the palace will only waste your talent and stop you from improving. You have two choices now if you want to keep boosting your martial arts cultivation. Your first choice, the Yuntai Suzerain. I guess you've heard of it before." Zhang Ruochen answered, "The Yuntai Suzerain is classified as a fourth-class suzerain that was established 720 years ago. They hold massive power and enjoy a particular superior status in the western 9 prefectures. Every princesses, and child from the large-scale family of the commandery were all proud of being a member of the Yuntai Suzerain. The Yuntai Suzerain was known as the cradle of strong warriors. Almost half of the Heaven Realm warriors in the Western 9 prefectures were the disciples of the Yuntai Suzerain. The Western 9 prefectures referred to the 9 commanderies of the Western Ridge. The Yunwu commandery was one of them. The Commandery Prince Yunwu nodded and said, "I once was the disciple of the Yuntai Suzerain. The vice chief of the external Yuntai Suzerain is a senior of the royal family in the Yunwu commandery as well as an uncle of mine. If you decide to join the Yuntai Suzerain, I'll draft a letter to my uncle. I'm sure you only need to demonstrate 1/10 of your talent in order to make it to the Yuntai Suzerain and become an external student of the Suzerain." Zhang Ruochen thought for a while and asked, "How about the second choice?" The Commandery Prince Yunwu said, "The second choice is going to be relatively hard. If your talent is high enough and able to stand out among all the outstanding warriors, your achievement will be magnificent. Have you heard of the School of the Martial Market?" "You mean the School of Martial Market operated by the Martial Market Bank?" Zhang Ruochen said, "The business of the Martial Market Bank had covered the entire Kunlun Field. Every commandery, every city, and every town was related to the Martial Market Bank to a certain extent. The martial market in all the commanderies were controlled by the Martial Market Bank. It is a fact that the Martial Market Bank had control over 30% of the economic systems in the entire Kunlun Field. The Martial Market Bank was more powerful than the Yuntai Suzerain to a large extent. It had passed on the power since the medieval ancient times and was regarded as a money empire. Not to mention the fourth-class suzerain, even the first-class suzerain didn't dare to confront the Martial Market Bank. With such massive prosperity, the Martial Market Bank surely required a tremendously strong force for protection. Therefore, the Martial Market Bank had established the Colosseum of the Martial Market and the School of the Martial Market. The school of the martial market aimed to foster more and more talent for the martial market bank so that it could be powerful ever after. And become the money dominator of the Kunlun Field. The more outstanding the students were in the school of the martial market, the higher their status would be and more privileges they could enjoy after graduation. The huge benefit of joining the school of the martial market was, they were always wealthy and would never lack resources for cultivation. The martial market bank was the most powerful backer for the school. Undoubtedly, it was extremely hard to get into the school of the martial market. It would only be more and more competitive each year so that a slight mistake would put the warriors to death. Zhang Ruo Chen clearly understood how powerful the martial market bank was. The martial market in the Yinwu commandery was only a small part of the whole. The headquarters of the martial market bank was larger than the royal court of the First Central Empire, both of whom controlled the fate of the world. Zhang Ruo Chen asked, "Has the martial market bank set up a school in the Yinwu commandery yet?" The commandery Prince Yunwu shook his head slightly and said, "No. Not in the Yinwu commandery but at the Omen Ridge. They've established a one-star school and specially enrolled the talented warriors from the 36 commanderies at the border of the Omen Ridge, including the western, the eastern, the southern and the northern 9 prefectures." Zhang Ruo Chen nodded with consent and said, "Okay. I'll join the school of the martial market." It would probably be less competitive for Zhang Ruo Chen to join the Yuntai suzerain, and easier for him to cultivate. Yet, the potential of the Yuntai suzerain was far less than the school of the martial market. As far as Zhang Ruo Chen concerned, he was worried that it would not be competitive enough. In terms of the commandery Prince Yunwu, he was satisfied with Zhang Ruo Chen's decision. He said, "When you become a senior of the martial market bank in the future, the Yunwu commandery will also benefit. There's one more month until the enrollment day of the school of the martial market. You should keep your mind on enhancing the solidity of your realm during this period of time. When it's about time, I'll arrange the guards to send you to the Omen Ridge." Afterward, both the commandery Prince Yunwu and Zhang Ruo Chen left Mount King. Zhang Ruo Chen went back to the Jade Palace, but he didn't see General Guqian. The royal guards who were stationed at the Jade Palace were all replaced. The general in charge was massive and tanned with a beard over his face. When he saw Zhang Ruo Chen, he bowed and greeted him with his thick voice instantly. He said, "Your servant Ganli greets my 9th prince." Zhang Ruo Chen asked, "Where is General Guqian?" Ganli responded, "Guqian has been assigned to the Emperor Ancestral Temple. From now on, your servant will protect my 9th prince. Don't worry, my 9th prince. My martial cultivation is above Guqian and I'm powerful enough to defeat 3 Guqians." He then showed Zhang Ruo Chen his sturdy arms and muscular body. The muscles on his body were like pieces of iron. Zhang Ruo Chen was deep in thought. It looked like Guqian and the other royal guards knew that he had resonated the court of gods and hence they had all been assigned to watch over at the Ancestor Temple. Zhang Ruo Chen glanced at Ganli and said, "I'm sure no assassin dare to come near the Jade Palace under the protection of General Ganli." Having listened to Zhang Ruo Chen's compliment, Ganli laughed and waved the axe in his hand, saying, "I have fought with His Majesty on the battlefield 10 times. I can even kill a savage beast with one swing of my axe. Any assassins who dare to come to the Jade Palace, I assure you I'll tear them apart." Zhang Ruo Chen nodded and went into the palace. He wanted to go to the courtyard where Lu stayed and see if he had cultivated the non-opal samsara magic formula. When he walked into the courtyard, he saw Lu standing still in the middle of the court. The bamboo leaves of the forest beside him were falling down like a rainfall of leaves. The speed of Lu releasing the sword was as fast as lightning. It had pierced through the leaves every time he struck. There were shadows of swords everywhere in the courtyard and there were sounds of swords whistling through the air. None of the bamboo leaves that fell down on the ground was whole. Clap. Zhang Ruo Chen clapped his hands while walking towards Lu and said, "Congratulations on upgrading your cultivation. I guess you've cultivated the first move of the non-opal samsara magic formula." Zhang Ruo Chen could tell that Li's cultivation had reached the initial stage of the Black Realm. Lu pulled back the sword instantly, sheathing it with great accuracy. Li's sight had also fallen on Zhang Ruo Chen. He asked, "How about you, my benefactor? Have you reached the initial stage of the Black Realm?" "I did indeed make it to the Black Realm." Zhang Ruo Chen nodded and asked, "So, what's your plan?" If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 65. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Translator, Transin Editor, Transin.lo said, the technique I'm practicing is called the self-destructive swordsmanship and the non-upal samsara magic formula. I guess I'm doomed to take a slaughter path in my life. Since I've cultivated to the black realm, I want to test myself at the black market. Zhang Ruo Chen said, the black market is surely a path with no comeback for ordinary warriors. Perhaps it's a good try for you. The power of the black market was certainly massive, it had spread all over the commandery. It had enough power to confront the Martial Market Bank, the Federation of Inscription, and the moon-worship demonic sect. Moreover, it was where the depraved and the fugitives assembled. Yun rushed to the ninth prince. She bowed and said, my ninth prince, Lin Qinyu and Lin Ningxian have a message for you from their maidservant. They said the 1 month time is up. They want to invite you to the martial arts field of the royal family and observe the fight. Oh. It's already been 1 month. Okay, I'll head to the martial arts field now. Zhang Ruo Chen put up a smile on his face. He glanced at Lu and found him exceptionally calm. Zhang Ruo Chen nodded and asked, Lu, do you want to watch the fight together? Lu said, good idea, let's go. When Zhang Ruo Chen, Lu, and Yun arrived at the martial arts field, all the princes and princesses had already gathered around in the field. Other than Lin Qinyu and Lin Ningxian from Lin's family, they also brought 4 guards to the field. Seeing Lu walking into the field with Zhang Ruo Chen, every single warrior of the Lins was shocked, including Lin Ningxian. Isn't he the slave of Ningxian? He is in real luck that he didn't die. One of the 4 guards sneered, so what? Although he didn't die, all his meridians have been destroyed. He's disabled now. The other guard said with disdain. The 4 guards who stood behind Lin Ningxian were exactly the 4 who broke Li's arms and legs outside the Colosseum of the Martial Market. They all thought that they had beaten him to death. No wonder why they were relatively shocked when they saw Lu, who was following behind Zhang Ruo Chen. One of the guards with a hawk nose held a 100-kilogram iron rod, stepped up behind Lin Ningxian and said, Lu, you're the slave of Ningxian. How dare you not kneel down when you see our mistress? Lu stared at the guard cold-bloodedly. The guard who just spoke out was only at the advanced stage of the Yellow Realm. Looking into Li's eyes, he felt a chill. All his meridians have been destroyed. I shouldn't be scared. Calm down. The guard tried to comfort himself and continued, a slave who wants to raise a ruckus. Such a degrading slave. I, Lin Zhusi, have to teach you a lesson today. The guard held the iron rod with both hands and swung toward Li's waist. Beep. A sword flashed. The head of the guard had been torn apart from the body and blood sprouted 3 meters high from the neck. The body without a head fell to the ground heavily. The other 3 guards were all frozen behind Lin Ningxian. They couldn't believe that Lu would dare to kill Lin Zhusi. Moreover, the way he swung the sword was too fast that no one recognized how he killed the guard. Even Lin Ningxian with a higher cultivation couldn't identify Li's sword technique clearly. Not to mention these 3 guards behind her, the only person who had distinguished Li's sword technique was Lin Qinyu. He chuckled and said, Lu, you're definitely the deadly swordsman of the Lins. Your cultivation is much stronger than before with a faster sword technique. I guess you've reached the Black Realm. Lu answered, Master Lin, I once was the slave of the Lins. However, the Lu in front of you is just Lu. He has nothing to do with the Lins anymore. Ha! Lu, you're too naive. Once you are a slave, forever a slave. If you dare to betray your master, you've violated the regulations of the commandery and will be subjected to death, Lin Ningxian said. Since you've broken through the Black Realm, why don't you come back to the Lins? You will enjoy lots of benefits in the future if you're loyal to us. Lu looked sharp and said, Miss Lin, the reason why I agreed to be your slave was you saved my life. Yet, your saving grace has been written off since the moment you decided to kill me outside the Colosseum of the Martial Market. The Lu you're looking at is not going to be anyone's slave now. I'll make sure you don't get to live if you force me to be your slave. Lin Ningxian was extremely irritated and said, how dare you? Guards, my cousin, I'll buy this slave. Zhang Ruochen walked toward Lin Ningxuan and pointed at Lu. Although Lin Ningxuan was arrogant, she was correct that it was considered as a serious crime for a slave to betray their master in the Yunwu commandery. They would no doubt be subjected to death. Lin Ningxuan looked at Zhang Ruochen and said while smiling, "Oh, my cousin. Can I say that you're begging me?" Zhang Ruochen answered, "If you have to comprehend it that way, you can." "Great. Since you beg me, how can I not save you some face as your cousin? Give me 1,000,000 silver coins and I'll sell you this slave." Lin Ningxuan lifted up her head and giggled. A slave at the initial stage of the Black Realm was valued at a maximum of 10,000 silver coins. No one would spend 1,000,000 silver coins to buy a slave at such level, including Lin Ningxuan. The 9th Commandery Princess added, "Lin Ningxuan, you're robbing my 9th brother. 1,000,000 silver coins are more than enough to buy 100 slaves at the initial stage of the Black Realm." Lin Ningxuan laughed and said, "Don't pretend to be good if you don't have enough coins to buy. Being a good person has a price." Zhang Ruochen interrupted Lin Ningxuan and exclaimed, "Deal. 1,000,000 silver coins are indeed worth it for Lu. I'll send the 1,000,000 silver coins to the Lin mansion within a month." Everyone in the field was amazed by what Zhang Ruochen had said, including Lin Ningxuan. No one believed that he would spend 1,000,000 silver coins just to buy a degraded slave. Only a fool like Zhang Ruochen would do such losing business. "My 9th brother," the 9th Commandery Princess was about to say something but was stopped by Zhang Ruochen. Zhang Ruochen looked at Lin Ningxuan. He outstretched one arm and asked, "My cousin, I guess you can hand me the slave contract now. Wealth speaks louder than words. My cousin, you have my respect. 1,000,000 silver coins come in at the right time. It's going to be my dowry when I marry the 7th prince. Thank you, my dear cousin." A joyful smile was displayed on Lin Ningxuan's face. She took out the beast skin contract and handed over it to Zhang Ruochen. Zhang Ruochen responded with a faint smile. He took the beast skin contract and made sure it was Li's name on it. Then, he activated the genuine qi in his body and transferred it to his 5 fingers. Boom. The beast skin contract had been shattered by his genuine qi and turned into nail-sized pieces of skin. People were shocked again, having spent 1,000,000 silver coins to buy a degraded slave, and then he destroyed the contract right away. Was the 9th prince insane? Lu looked at Zhang Ruochen deeply and exclaimed, "I'll repay you 100 times in the future." Phew. A guard who stood behind Lin Ningxuan laughed, 100 times. Boasting fool. That's altogether 1,000,000,000 silver coins. Even warriors of the heaven realm are not able to accumulate such wealth in their entire life. Lin Ningxuan naturally didn't believe Lu and thought he was being foolish. The 9th Commandery Princess shook her head and felt sorry for Zhang Ruochen. Lu wasn't worth what Zhang Ruochen had done. Besides, even the large-scale families were unable to take out 1,000,000 silver coins at once. She sighed in her heart, and since her 9th brother had made the decision, she could do nothing but let Lin Ningxuan take advantage of Zhang Ruochen. The 9th Commandery Princess held her sword elegantly in the middle of the martial arts field and pointed at Lin Ningxuan. She said, "Lin Ningxuan, stop being proud of yourself. 1 month time is up. I hereby challenge you to fight." Lin Ningxuan, who had just received 1,000,000 silver coins, was so pleased that no words could explain her feelings. Moreover, she had greatly improved her cultivation level, thus she didn't bother too much about the 9th Commandery Princess. The 9th Commandery Princess is indeed very positive. I wonder whether or not you'll still be arrogant like this if I defeat you for the 3rd time. Lin Ningxuan sneered. The 9th Commandery Princess was full of confidence and said, "If I defeat you, I'm not going to go easy on you." Lin Ningxuan, who was wearing a white long dress, walked towards the martial arts field, looked as pure as lilies. She stood beautifully in front of the 9th Commandery Princess. Her sight shifted to Zhang Ruochen and said, "My cousin, I want to change the rules. If I defeat the 9th Commandery Princess, you don't need to apologize, but instead, do me a favor." Zhang Ruochen asked, "What's it about?" Lin Ningxuan looked up slightly and smiled, "I haven't thought about it yet. I'll tell you when I have an idea. You don't need to worry, my cousin." We are a family and I'm not going to hurt you. Zhang Ruo Chen looked at the ninth commandery princess. He nodded and said, okay, I promise you. I'm sure my ninth sister will defeat you, I have confidence in her. Having listened to what Zhang Ruo Chen said, the ninth commandery princess felt more pressure. She thought to herself, I need to win this fight and stop Lin Ningxuan from being so arrogant. With my cultivation and the use of the Tianhe scripture, should be able to win. The ninth commandery princess surely understood how important this fight was. She had taken out all the savings she had in order to buy all sorts of resources she needed for cultivation in this month. Therefore, her cultivation had improved greatly. My ninth brother, I won't let you down. The ninth commandery princess looked toward Zhang Ruochen with a glimmer of a smile in her eyes, and the glance had displayed a sense of mystery. This look, has she successfully cultivated the first level of the Tianhe scripture? Zhang Ruochen was shocked slightly by the fact that Yushi had fully prepared for the fight. Stop chattering, my ninth commandery princess. You are doomed to lose the fight again. Lin Ningxuan huffed coldly. She took out the splendor sword and released it toward the ninth commandery princess. There was half a meter long sword light pulled through as well as an irritating sword echo while she was releasing the sword, the completion of the yellow realm. Zhang Ruochen frowned slightly. He could tell Lin Ningxuan's martial arts realm when she released her sword. Lin Ningxuan's cultivation had been greatly enhanced in just a month. If she didn't take any pills, she wouldn't be able to break through from the final state to the completion of the yellow realm in such a short period of time. The third prince shook his head and said, Lin Ningxuan has cultivated to the completion of the yellow realm. Our ninth sister is definitely going to lose. If our ninth sister loses, our ninth brother will have to do Lin Ningxuan a favor. What if Lin Ningxuan wants him to kneel down? It will no doubt that can stain the reputation of the royal family. The fifth prince said with cruelty in his eyes. The third prince said, our ninth brother is still too young and impetuous. If let him suffer some setbacks, it'll do him good for his future as a warrior. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 66. You are listening at NavelFull.audio. Translator, Transin Editor, Transin, she has reached the completion of the yellow realm. So what? I have also made it. The corner of the ninth commandery princess's lips curved slightly. She started the Tianhe scripture. The genuine qi in her body became white and even covered her skin with a layer of white brilliance. The blue water sword in her hand reacted and gave off a beam of light around 5 feet long. Boom. The ninth commandery princess waved her arms, drawing sword circles above her head. It emitted streaks of white light, and the sword breath wound round and round towards Lin Ningxuan. How can this be? That the ninth commandery princess had broken through to the completion of the yellow realm? Also, the ninth commandery princess's genuine qi also seemed more powerful now. It was very thick and carried with it a light sense of coldness. Lin Ningxuan felt her own genuine qi may be a little weaker than that of the ninth commandery princess. She has indeed successfully finished the practice of one part of the Tianhe scripture. I had no idea that ninth sister's physique was so suitable for practicing the Tianhe scripture, said Zhang Ruo Chen. Training exercises were not always the more powerful the better, and it is important that the training and the warrior's physique were compatible. Clearly, the ninth commandery princess's physique was very compatible with the Tianhe scripture, and thus she was able to, in a very short amount of time, completed the training for one part of the Tianhe scripture. If Luo were to train with the Tianhe scripture, perhaps he would not improve as quickly as the ninth commandery princess. That was not to say he was not as talented as the ninth commandery princess, but because his physique was not as compatible with the Tianhe scripture, as the ninth commandery princess had also reached the completion in the yellow realm, then the outcome of this match was once again suspenseful. Lin Ningxuan was slightly more accomplished than the ninth commandery princess in sword techniques. However, the ninth commandery princess trained with a higher class of sword technique, and so her genuine qi was purer. Even when using a lower-class sword technique, her attacks would still be very powerful. They were known as the two beauties of Yinwu City, possessing beauty beyond that of normal people. Each of the sword techniques is executed with grace and is elegant to behold. It seems as if the fairies were engaged in a dance of the sword. Their clashes were very dangerous, each stroke of the sword breath leaving deep gashes in the earth. So what if you have reached the completion of the Yellow Realm? You are still not able to challenge me. Sacred Guiding Sword. Lin Ningxian executed a low-class spiritual sword technique. With a wave of her arm, a sword breath of 8 meters in length flew out from the sword, dragging behind it a long sword path, straight towards the 9th Commandery Princess. The 9th Commandery Princess had not trained a low-class spiritual stage sword technique but had successfully practiced a superior class human stage sword technique, ethereal sword technique, etherealness and silence. The 9th Commandery Princess grasped her sword by the hilt with both hands and chopped down towards the ground, meeting Lin Ningxian's attack head-on. Boom! The 9th Commandery Princess's hand was scratched by the sword breath. Blood dripped from her wrists. The power of low-class spiritual sword techniques could not be compared to human stage sword techniques. In the end, the 9th Commandery Princess was still slightly weaker than Lin Ningxian. Lin Ningxian gave a cold laugh, and once again stepped up her pace, chasing after the 9th Commandery Princess, once again striking with Sacred Guiding Sword. Seeing that the 9th Commandery Princess was being pushed back with nowhere to go by Lin Ningxian, Zhang Ruo Chen immediately said, "Ninth sister, don't go head-to-head with her, utilize the strategy of movement, use up her genuine chi." Hearing Zhang Ruochen's words, the 9th Commandery Princess suddenly understood. Immediately she executed a mid-class human stage technique, becoming a shadow and flitting aside, dodging Lin Ningxian's attack. Although the spiritual stage sword techniques were very powerful, they also consumed huge amounts of genuine chi. Lin Ningxian had only just reached the completion of the Yellow Realm, and her genuine chi is still very lacking. After, at most, 10 strokes of spiritual stage sword techniques, her genuine chi would have been depleted. Lin Qinyu stood outside the martial arts field with his hands behind his back, smiled and said, "Since you can advise the 9th Commandery Princess, then may I advise Ningxian?" Zhang Ruochen gestured with both hands, smiled and said, "Please, go ahead." Lin Qinyu said, "Ningxian, since the 9th Commander Princess wants to escape, then you should follow and win the chase. Use the Lin family's killing sword technique and cut off her escape." Lin Ningxian took her brother's words to heart, and following Lin Qinyu's words, immediately executed the killing sword technique, chasing after the 9th Commandery Princess and forcing the 9th Commandery Princess into dangerous straits. On the 9th Commandery Princess's clothes, a few more cuts opened. Zhang Ruochen stood at the other end of the martial arts field and said, "Ninth sister, use the blue water sword technique, and attack her base." The 9th Commandery Princess immediately acted on Zhang Ruochen's words, executing a blue water reverse. The tip of her sword sliced past Lin Ningxian's abdomen, hitting. At Lin Ningxian's abdomen, her robe was slashed, showing a small section of pale white skin. The 9th Commandery Princess almost drew blood. Zhang Ruochen and Lin Qinyu were far more knowledgeable than the 9th Commandery Princess and Lin Ningxian about martial arts, and so with their advice, the fight became even more dangerous. It could no longer be considered a fight between the 9th Commandery Princess and Lin Ningxian, rather it was a duel between Zhang Ruochen and Lin Qinyu. Lin Ningxian, use sacred sword skill, straight towards her face. Ninth sister, don't meet her head-on, immediately take 3 steps to the left then turn back and strike. Zhang Ruochen and Lin Qinyu continued to advise the 9th Commandery Princess and Lin Ningxian. Half an hour passed and yet there was still no winner. Both women continued to take more and more damage. Zhang Ruochen saw that the 9th Commandery Princess already had 5 wounds, each was dripping blood. He knew that if the fight were to go on, she and Lin Ningxian were sure to be heavily wounded. Were both of them to be defeated and wounded? Zhang Ruochen shook his head and took Li's sword from his hand, gripping it in his own and said, "Ninth sister, look how I execute this move, sacred breaking plum sword." Zhang Ruochen stood outside the martial arts field and began the move. Striking out with the sword, 7 streaks of sword breath flew out from the sword. The 9th Commandery Princess watched closely. She immediately followed Zhang Ruochen's instructions and struck out, executing the sacred breaking plum sword, straight toward Lin Ningxian's glabella. Sacred breaking plum sword was one of the techniques of the sacred sword skill. Even Lin Ningxian had not yet managed to learn it. Seeing the 9th Commandery Princess executing the sacred breaking plum sword, Lin Ningxuan panicked and immediately dodged to the right. Outside of the martial arts field, Zhang Ruo Chen seemed to have expected Lin Ningxuan to dodge to the right, and so with a shake of his arm, the sword in his hand immediately dipped down and started swinging to the right. The ninth commandery princess saw Zhang Ruo Chen change his strike and followed to do the same, and the blue water sword in her hand turned to strike to the right, swish. When her sword came to a stop, not an inch more or less, it landed exactly on Lin Ningxuan's neck. Lin Ningxuan's face changed and was about to strike back. "Don't move." The ninth commandery princess pushed a little harder on her sword. The edge of the sword slightly broke the skin at Lin Ningxuan's neck, a drop of blood rolled along the edge of the blade and fell down. If Lin Ningxuan dared to retaliate, the sword would only plunge deeper. At this moment, the ninth commandery princess was overjoyed. Using the sword at Lin Ningxuan's neck, she used the point to raise Lin Ningxuan's chin, smiled and said, "Sister Ningxuan, you really shouldn't move. If by accident, I slice through your face of startling beauty, that would be a tragedy." Lin Ningxuan was afraid to move. She was terrified that the ninth commandery princess would slice her face. Given the ninth commandery princess's identity, if she sliced her face during a duel, she would at most be scolded by the Yunwu commandery prince and the queen. They wouldn't truly punish her. "If it weren't for Zhang Ruo Chen helping you, you would not be able to beat me." Lin Ningxuan bore her pearly white teeth in anger, and said, "We shall fight again, fairly. I have already won, why would I fight you again?" The ninth commandery princess and asked teasingly while innocently blinking. Her sword continued to remain around Lin Ningxuan's neck and face as if at any moment she could strike and ruin Lin Ningxuan's face. Before the fight, Lin Ningxuan had never thought she would lose to the ninth commandery princess. Even now, she would not admit that she was not as good as the ninth commandery princess. Lin Ningxuan was not satisfied and said, "If you are willing to fight again, we can raise the stakes. If I lose again to you, I am willing to become your serving girl, and serve you for 10 years. Not interested." The ninth commandery princess shook her head and said, "I do not have the time to fight you again. You have lost this fight, kneel instantly and apologize to me, or I will slice apart your face and make you ugly." Zhang Ruo Chen gently shook his head and sighed quietly. Battle between women was a terrifying thing. However, he did not feel sympathy for Lin Ningxuan. If the ninth commandery princess had lost this fight, Lin Ningxuan would use even more extreme methods to humiliate Zhang Ruo Chen. Lin Ningxuan's eyes carried a dark anger and she said, "I agreed to apologize, but did not agree to kneel and apologize. I have won, and I want you to kneel. You can decide. If you don't kneel, then I will really slice open your face." The ninth commandery princess said. Lin Ningxuan's eyes flashed to Lin Qinyu, imploring him to help. Lin Qinyu said, "Your Majesty, one should forgive." Shut up. Who are you? You are nothing more than 7 brothers' servant. Do you have the right to stand and talk to me? The ninth commandery princess said. Lin Qinyu's face darkened, a sense of death flashed through his eyes, but he quickly suppressed it. Politely he bowed to the ninth commandery princess and said, "This servant dares not." Ningxuan, kneel immediately and apologize to the ninth commandery princess. Lin Ningxuan's eyes were filled with murderous intent, her whole body was shaking. For her, to kneel to the ninth commandery princess, it was the greatest humiliation. The ninth commandery princess blinked, smiled and said, "I am not an unreasonable person. If you are willing to pay out 1 million silver coins, then I can let you go at once, and you won't need to kneel." 1 million silver coins, where would I find that? Lin Ningxuan said. The ninth commandery princess's eyes flashed to Zhang Ruo Chen standing outside the martial arts field. Her meaning was clear. Ninth brother owes you 1 million silver coins. If you will not ask for the 1 million silver coins, then I will let you go. Lin Ningxuan, of course, understood the ninth commandery princess's meaning, and also looked towards Zhang Ruo Chen. If she could bring out 1 million silver coins, she could choose to not kneel, but, the 1 million silver coins, for the whole family, it was a huge amount. Lin Ningxuan could not hand it back. "Fine. I'll kneel." Lin Ningxuan looked like she had made an important decision. Unbelievably she kneeled in front of the ninth commandery princess and said, "Your Majesty, the ninth commandery princess, I apologize humbly. Everything was my fault previously, please forgive me." The ninth commandery princess was shocked. The ninth commandery princess had not meant to really humiliate Lin Ningxuan. She only wanted to force Lin Ningxuan to return the 1 million silver coins. She did not expect for Lin Ningxuan to kneel for the 1 million silver coins, to take such humiliation as kneeling and apologizing. If they had swapped places, the ninth commandery princess would definitely not have been able to do that. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 67. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Translator, Transin Editor, Transin. Lin Ningxuan stood up. Instead of looking at ninth commandery princess, she turned to Zhang Ruo Chen and said, Ruochen, don't forget to send 1 million silver coins to Lin Mansion in a month. After that, Lin Qinyu and she left the Royal Colosseum with their 3 guards dispiritedly. When they walked out the palace, Lin Ningxuan's eyes were filled with tears of humiliation. She said coldly, she must die for insulting me, so will Zhang Ruo Chen. I don't want to see them anymore. Lin Qinyu's gazing was cold as he said, don't worry. I've offered a lot of money for Zhang Ruochen's head in the black market. He'll die if he steps out of the palace. As for ninth commandery princess, it'll be easy to kill her. Ningxuan, what's most important for you is to practice hard to reach the black realm. When that time comes, you'll be able to kill her by your own hands. An icy stare flashed in Lin Ningxuan's eyes. She replied, you're right. I must kill her myself to ease my hatred. Lin Qinyu took out a red copper box from his sleeve and handed it to Lin Ningxuan. This is a third-class dark blood pill. It'll help you increase your success rate by 30% when you challenge the Black Realm. If you can make it, you can go to Yuntai Suzerain with me. It won't be difficult for you to pass the exam for Yuntai Suzerain then. Lin Ningxuan took the dark blood pill with some pleasure. I can go to Yuntai Suzerain as long as I break through the Black Realm. That's great. I'll be able to meet 7th Prince then. That's for certain. Lin Qinyu smiled and said, the 7th Prince is now an internal student of the Suzerain and has a high status. If he favors you, you'll receive many benefits in the future. Hearing his words, Lin Ningxuan instantly transformed the humiliation to some expectation in her heart. The 7th Prince was a great talent in front of whom, Zhang Ruochen was just an extra. At the martial art field of the royal family, Zhang Ruochen said, 9th sister, you've humiliated her and made her kneel down in front of the crowd. She definitely will take revenge on you in some extreme ways one day. 9th Commandery Princess took back her blue water sword and said, I didn't mean to humiliate her and I just wanted your 1 million silver coins back. Besides, should I be afraid of her? Even lent her a daring, she did not dare to hurt anyone of our royal family. I hope that's the case. Zhang Ruochen took out a black copper box and handed it to 9th Commandery Princess. A dark blood pill and it'll increase your success rate by 30% when you challenge the Black Realm. Zhang Ruochen should have eaten the pill that he bought for his Black Realm challenge. But when he practiced Ultimate Realm in Mount King, he brought in Court of Gods. With the help of the God's power, he directly broke through Black Realm without dark blood pill. He now passed it into 9th Commandery Princess. She accepted it happily without hesitation. The other princes and the princesses were very envious. It was known that the pill was a third-class pill, valued at 120,000 silver coins. Those who ate it could save a year's worth of practice. Ordinary princes and princesses could not afford it. After leaving the martial arts field of the royal family, Lo bade Zhang Ruochen farewell and left for the black market. Lo. Zhang Ruochen called Lo and said meaningfully, a month later, I will leave for the school of the martial market. But, there's something I'm worried about. 9th Commandery Princess. Lo stared at Zhang Ruochen. Zhang Ruochen nodded. Having suffered such a huge insult, Lin Ningxuan will certainly take revenge on my 9th sister. She may even kill her. Lo said, as long as I'm in Yinwu City, I'll protect her from the Lin family. I hear you. Zhang Ruochen laughed. Without any more words, Lo walked out the palace, leaving Zhang Ruochen the view of his lonely, but proud back, Zhang Ruo Chen felt it was the best deal he had ever made to buy Luo from Lin Ningxian with 1 million coins. However, 1 million was a lot of money. He currently had 890,000 silver coins left and still needed 110,000. How could he get the money? It seems that I can only depend on spatial ring. As long as I refine a spatial ring, I must earn 110,000 silver coins easily. My genuine chi has become richer since I reached the Black Realm. I also have the faint power of gods in my body. This all makes it possible for me to carve inscription of strain type and inscription of condensing. Except for the 2 inscriptions, Zhang Ruo Chen had also carved the other 6 basic inscriptions of space. One must know, Zhang Ruo Chen's spiritual power was powerful. He had already reached level 32, the reason why he couldn't carve them previously was not that his spiritual power was not strong enough, but his genuine chi was not thick enough. Now that his cultivation had reached the Black Realm and his genuine chi increased, he was sure he could carve them. Thinking about this, Zhang Ruo Chen could not wait to carve, so he returned to Jade Palace as quickly as possible. When he arrived at Jade Palace, General Ganli bowed to him, with a hatchet in hand. "Your Highness. What are you doing here?" asked Zhang Ruo Chen. General Ganli laughed and handed a bag to Zhang Ruo Chen. "There are silver coins and spiritual crystals from Imperial Finance Department. These were exchanged for the savage beasts you hunted in King Mount." "Oh." When Zhang Ruo Chen happily accepted the bag, he felt it was a little too heavy. When he opened the bag, he laughed. There were 143 spiritual crystal and 670 silver coins, amounting to 143,670 silver coins. Earlier, Zhang Ruo Chen had killed 3 level 2 savage beasts, 30 superior class level 1 savage beasts, more than 30 medium class level 1 savage beasts, and some inferior class level 1 ones. A second level savage beast was valued at more than 20,000 silver coins. For example, Silver Dragon Lion could be sold for 30,000 or 40,000 silver coins since its whole body was full of treasure. A superior class level 1 savage beast was valued at 5,000 to 10,000 silver coins. A medium class level 1 savage beast was valued at 1,000 silver coins. After half a month in Mount King, I made 143,670 silver coins. The price was low because they were exchanged in Imperial Finance Department. If I sell them in the martial market, they'll pay 200,000 silver coins. It seemed pretty lucrative to hunt savage beasts, but the work was not easy. The reason why Zhang Ruo Chen could hunt so many savage beasts was that King Mount was the hunting ground of royal family. The beasts there were not fierce. There were also no superior class beasts of the 2nd and 3rd levels. If it was in the Omen Ridge or Tongming River, hunting would be dangerous for warriors of completion in Black Realm, let alone warriors of initial stage in Black Realm. Warriors in Earth Realm or Heaven Realm might even die if they ventured too far into Omen Ridge and dead reach of Tongming River. Thus it was enough for Zhang Ruo Chen to earn 143,670 silver coins. At least, he now had enough money to pay Lin Ningxian. Zhang Ruo Chen immediately entered the internal space of the time and space spinel. After returning to his room, he took out an inscription pen and placed a piece of spiritual paper on the ground. I must carve successfully. He injected genuine chi into the pen and sketched inscription of strain type on the paper. After reaching the Black Realm, Zhang Ruo Chen felt his carving became more fluid. It took him only 10 breaths to complete his carving. Ha! I did it. He started to draw inscription of condensing. He carved quicker this time, using just 8 breaths. Zhang Ruo Chen continued. When he practiced for the 10th time, he could carve both inscriptions in 3 breaths. This is awesome. I can now carve all 8 basic inscriptions of space. After I brought in the first court of gods, my spiritual power increased so much. I wonder which level I am at right now. Zhang Ruo Chen was very happy and started to refine the spatial ring. Last time, he refined a spatial ring successfully. But back then, he could not draw inscription of strain type, limiting his ability to expand the internal space in spatial ring. That ring was just a basic spatial ring with limited internal space of around 1 cubic meter. It can only store a couple of things. Now he had learned how to draw inscription of strain type and the inscription of condensing. Could he refine a spatial ring with a larger internal space? Excitedly, He took out a white ring carved in a phoenix pattern. The first step was to carve inscription of space on it. Zhang Ruo Chen spent 15 minutes successfully carving 6 inscriptions of space on the ring. There was an internal space of 1 cubic meter inside the ring. The next step, also the most important step, was to carve inscription of strain type to expand that space. Zhang Ruo Chen held the pen, carving carefully. He drew as fluidly as floating clouds and flowing water. Boom. Once he carved successfully, the internal space instantly expanded. 1 cubic, 2 cubics, 3 cubics. The internal space quickly expanded to 8 cubic meters and it was still increasing. Zhang Ruo Chen injected all his genuine qi into the ring. He made full use of his cultivation to maximize the internal space of the ring. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 69. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Translator, Transin Editor, Transen.in Lin's mansion. Lin Ningxian headed to Lin Qinyu's house as soon as she got the message. She said anxiously, "Brother, Zhang Ruochen has left the palace for the school of the martial market. Why haven't you made your move yet?" Lin Qinyu smiled mildly. "Don't need to hurry. If you let him arrive at the school of the martial market, there's no chance to kill him anymore," Lin Ningxian said with coldness in her eyes. Her grudge against Zhang Ruochen was so deep. Lin Qinyu was seated in a chair, his palms put together as he practiced an evil art. His entire body emitted a biting, chilling air. He said serenely, eyes closed, "Ningxian, even if you don't trust me, you should have faith in the Hades department. Don't worry. He'll be dead before he makes it to the school of the martial market." The Hades department? It's the largest assassin guild in Yinwu Commandery. Word on the street says it once killed warriors of the heaven realm. Lin Ningxian's eyes lit up. If they did hire the assassins from the Hades department, Zhang Ruochen was dead. Lin Qinyu laughed. The Hades department is not only the largest assassin guild in Yinwu Commandery but also the best in the entire western 9 prefectures. In this case, the Hades department sends 2 assassins who had at least killed 1 warrior in the dawn state of the Black Realm. Under their conjoint attack, Zhang Ruochen has no way to survive even if his cultivation has reached the Black Realm. I guess, we'll get the good news that the 9th prince is assassinated before noon. When the time comes, the queen will reward me greatly for sure. Ha! When Lin Qinyu opened his eyes, his pupils had turned bloody red, giving an extremely savage feeling. Lin Ningxian showed a little smile, and said, "Since the assassins are from the Hades department, it's a sure thing." There were some other warriors in Yinwu City who would go to the school of the martial market for this year's entrance examination besides Zhang Ruochen. If they could pass the examination and study in the school of the martial market, it would be a sudden rising in life for them, just like finding the paradise. They would have access to endless practicing resources. Merely thinking about it was a huge excitement. Those warriors were quite young. They were under their 30s, but all have the cultivation of the Black Realm. There was no weakling. Now, they all were gathering in the Colosseum of the martial market, waiting in silence. There had been more than 30 young warriors in the Colosseum of the martial market when Zhang Ruochen arrived, including both male and female warriors. "Everyone, look. His Highness 9th Prince is also here. It's indeed the 9th Prince. They said he just got the first place in the division of Yellow not long ago. Could it be possible that he had broken through to the Black Realm? Since he's come to the Colosseum of the martial market, he must have reached the Black Realm. It's unbelievable. His practicing speed is so fast. No wonder he is the genius of martial arts." A 20-something girl in purple with a jade flute in her hand stared at Zhang Ruochen, who just walked out of his carriage. There was a strange light in her eyes. A skinny man standing opposite of the girl in purple exchanged glances with her. They made a little nod and turned their attention towards a nearby Zhang Ruochen. There was a faint trace of malice in them. They were the assassins from the Hades department. Achieving the Black Realm at such a young age, they could be considered as top talents. The girl in purple was named Ziqian. She was incredibly beautiful and had some fame in Yinwu City. Yet no one knew that she was an assassin of the Hades department. The skinny man was named Chen Libing. He seemed a little sick and looked only 25 years old. Before achieving the Black Realm, he had 10 winning streaks in the Yellow Fighting Palace. His best rank was 18th on the Yellow board. Thanks to his outstanding performance in the Yellow Fighting Palace, he was recruited by the Martial Market Bank to be the captain of the guards. With so many resources at hand, his cultivation grew fast and reached the advanced stage of the Black Realm. A yellow board warrior who could achieve the Black Realm was definitely the strongest one among those in the same realm. He could even kill people of a higher realm. Ziqian and Shenlibing were both considered as genius assassins in the Hades department. This time, their main task was to assimilate into the school of the martial market in preparation for future assassinations. To them, assassinating the 9th prince was just an additional task. If the assassination succeeded, they surely would receive great rewards. Even so, it was no small challenge for them to assassinate the 9th prince without exposing their true identities. Lu Qingfeng immediately went up to Zhang Ruo Chen, greeting them with a fist and palm salute. He smiled and said, "Your Highness, I beg your pardon for the things I've done in the past." Somewhat stunned by Lu Qingfeng's humility, Zhang Ruo Chen replied, "Brother Lu, what are you doing?" Lu Qingfeng laughed. "Ever since I suffered defeat twice at your hands in the Yellow Level Palace, I had been agonizing. Thus, I made up my mind to turn over a new leaf. I didn't expect that, with this new insight, my cultivation broke through into the Black Realm before long." Zhang Ruochen tentatively looked into Lu Qingfeng's eyes and smiled. "Congratulations, Brother Lu. If it wasn't for your Highness inspiring me, I'm afraid I wouldn't have broken through into the Black Realm so quickly." Lu Qingfeng laughed. Lu Xuanhuan, the manager of the Martial Market Bank, walked into the Colosseum of the Martial Market at the moment, along with other big shots. All eyes were drawn to them. Lu Xuanhuan walked towards Zhang Ruochen and smiled. "Your Highness, the Commandery Prince and I were comrades since we were young. I hope you can forgive Qingfeng in your past enmities for my sake. If you both pass the examination and join the school of the martial market, you must support each other." Lu Xuanhuan then turned towards Lu Qingfeng and gave him a sharp stare. "Qingfeng, you're too reckless and not nearly calm enough. I hoped you could learn from the 9th prince from now on and take him as your role model." Lu Xuanhuan was so sophisticated that he knew Zhang Ruochen's talent was way higher than his own son. If his son could have more contacts with Zhang Ruochen, it would benefit him much in the future. Lu Qingfeng retorted, "I'll learn from the 9th prince even if you didn't tell me so." If Lu Qingfeng had really turned over a new leaf, Zhang Ruochen naturally would not mind forgiving and letting him off. Lu Qingfeng was indeed a genius. He had reached the completion of the Yellow Realm when he was 17 years old. Then, he became a warrior of Yellow Board and broke through to the Black Realm when he was 20 years old. There were only a handful of geniuses like him in the whole of Yinwu Commandery. With Lu Xuanhuan standing next to Zhang Ruochen, Ziqian and Shenlibing had no chance to attack. By noon, there were 68 young warriors who reached the Black Realm gathered at the Warfare Palace. All the warriors who wanted to attend the school of the martial market in the entire Yinwu Commandery were there. Wah! There came an ear-splitting howl of an eagle from the sky. More than half of Yinwu city could hear it. A huge blood-feathered eagle flew out of the cloud. When it spread out its wings, the distance between them was more than 70 meters. It looked like a bloody red hill, flying down from the sky. The blood-feathered eagle showed an imposing manner, exerting huge pressure on the warriors below. Some warriors with lower cultivation even felt that their legs weakening and cold sweat all over their bodies. Blood-feathered eagle was a savage beast in the 3rd superior class. If we only consider the destructibility, its power is scarier than the power of a warrior in the completion of the Earth Realm. A young warrior of the Black Realm said in his shaking voice. Another young female warrior said, "I once saw a blood-feathered eagle in the outer ring of Omen Ridge." With just a mouthful of flame from the eagle, an entire village became scorched to the ground. Everyone there was burnt to death. Hearing these comments, the young aristocrats who had never left Yinwu city turned pale with fright, yet Zhang Ruochen was perfectly calm and collected. He looked up into the sky and saw a middle-aged man in a silver robe standing on the head of the blood-feathered eagle. The silver-robed man stood still with an ancient sword on his back. He was even more imposing than the blood-feathered eagle. Lu Xuanhuan smiled with his hands clasped behind his back. Elder Xie, long time no see. The silver-robed man standing on the head of blood-feathered eagle said, Elder Lu, are there only dozens of people from Yinwu Commandery taking the entrance examination this year? I remember there were 103 warriors of the Black Realm from Yinwu Commandery last year, but only 3 of them passed and became the external disciples of the school. Ruochen was the manager of the Martial Market Bank in Yinwu Commandery, but in the Martial Market Bank, he and the silver-robed man were both elders. Ruochen smiled. Don't worry, Elder Xie. There will be more people passing the examination than last year. Who knows if we may even have some surprises. Oh. Hearing Ruochen's words, Xie Nantian thought of something and said, could it be that some extraordinary genius had popped up from Yinwu Commandery? A genius who can get into top 10 in the examination. Ruochen smiled mysteriously and said, you'll know when the time comes. Xie Nantian knew that Ruochen was a prudent man. There must be an incredible genius from Yinwu Commandery. He must definitely find the genius and take him in as a disciple in advance. Xie Nantian stared at the 68 warriors of the Black Realm below. When his eyes fell on Ziqian, he gasped. Ziqian was only about 22 years old, but she had reached the dawn state of the Black Realm. She could be considered a genius even in the external school of the martial market. She must be the one that Ruochen meant. Xie Nantian showed a little smile in his eyes. Nodding slightly, he said, since you're all here, come and stand on the back of the blood-feathered eagle. We'll head to the school of the martial market now. The 68 warriors all demonstrated their martial art to leap to the back of the blood-feathered eagle, finding a place to sit. Zhang Ruo Chen sat beside Lu Qingfeng. All of a sudden, he smelled a faint fragrance. Zhang Ruo Chen turned around towards his left and saw a girl in purple sitting next to him. She was gorgeous and had a particularly lovely shape. Her breasts were perky and round, looking as if they were going to burst out of her purple dress. Zhang Ruo Chen just glanced at her, and he drew back his sight. Wah! The blood-feathered eagle soared upwards to the sky when all warriors were seated on its back. In just a short moment, it was out of Yinwu City, heading to Omen Ridge. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 70. You are listening at NavelFull.audio. Translator, Transin Editor, Transin. The bloody eagle had not only a giant size, but also was very fast. It was said that one could cover 9,000 kilometers per day, thus many Heaven Realm warriors desired blood-feathered eagles as their mounts. Within an hour, it had already flown out of Yinwu City and entered the boundless wilds. Sitting on the back of blood-feathered eagle, Lu Qingfeng winked at Zhang Ruochen as if he had something to say. Zhang Ruochen was a little confused and asked, Brother Lu, what do you mean? Lu Qingfeng stared at the woman in a purple dress who sat next to Zhang Ruochen, and then he said in a lower voice, Ninth Prince, did you not even know her? Zhang Ruochen glanced at the girl quickly and shook his head. No, I don't. Lu Qingfeng was handsome, however, he looked perverted when he laughed. He grinned and said, her name is Ziqian. She's very famous in Yinwu City. Not only beauty but also her talents for practicing martial arts. It said that she had already reached the dawn state of the Black Realm and she will probably become a warrior of the Earth Realm in the future. He added, there are countless sons of the government officials and the large-scale families want to marry her in Yinwu City. Yet, no one had won her heart. Rumor has it that the third prince, your brother, has also followed her but she refused him. Ha! I can't believe we are going to the school of the martial market to take part in the exam together. We may perhaps become classmates, who knows? Well, my ninth prince, if you're not interested in her, I'll go after her. Although Lu Qingfeng spoke as low as he could, being a young warrior at the dawn state of the Black Realm as well as sitting next to Zhang Ruochen, Ziqian heard every single word that Lu Qingfeng had said. Zhang Ruochen felt embarrassed and yet Lu Qingfeng acted like nothing happened. He nodded towards Ziqian and started a conversation with Ziqian. Miss Z, I'm Lu Qingfeng, son of the manager of the Martial Market Bank. I've long heard of you and you're just as beautiful as I expected. Indeed, Ziqian was very gorgeous, with long eyelashes and 2 crystal big eyes. She had rosy lips like a cherry and a fair body like white jade. The ninth commandery princess and Lin Ningxian were two beauties in Yinwu City, but they were both so young that they could only be seen as teenage girls who were turning into adults. Zi Qian was different. Her figure was perfection when compared to the ninth commandery princess and Lin Ningxian. Every curve of her body was gorgeous. Zi Qian glanced at Lu Qingfeng and said, "Son of a manager. Your father is just a presbyter in the Martial Market Bank, let alone in the whole Yinwu commandery." Lu Qingfeng did not feel any awkwardness. Then he continued, "I think Miss C had a bias against me." "No, I don't. I just heard something bad about your personality, so I don't want to make friends with you," said Zi Qian. She spoke frankly and made the young warriors around them laugh, which made Lu Qingfeng feel as if he had been put out. Be mindful, the number of people who had been turned down by Zi Qian was countless. Some of their identities and talents were more or less the same as Lu Qingfeng. Yet he dared to chase after Zi Qian. He deserved to be humiliated. Withdrawing his smiles, Lu Qingfeng said gravely, "How dare you humiliate me? I have many attendants in the school of martial market, I will lesson you there." Ahem. Zhang Ruo Chen cleared his throat and said, "Brother Lu, haven't you decided to behave yourself?" Lu Qingfeng answered, "Ninth prince, didn't you hear how she insulted me? How dare she say I'm not a good person and she didn't want to make friends with me?" Calm down. If you want to build your reputation again, you have to learn how to control your temper and stop being so explosive. Always reflect on yourself before judging others. I'm sure that if you had behaved well previously, Miss C would want to be friends with you, said Zhang Ruo Chen, but, never mind, I don't want quarrels with a woman. Listen to your warning, ninth prince. Lu Qingfeng bit his teeth and bowed with his hands to Zi Qian as he said, "Sorry, Miss C. It was my fault." Zi Qian looked at Zhang Ruo Chen and nodded. It is nice to follow the ninth prince's instruction in the future. That's true, Lu Qingfeng answered. Chen Liebing, another killer who was sitting behind Zhang Ruo Chen, looked calm and said, "Since Mr. Lu is the son of the Martial Market Bank's manager, I guess you're definitely the most familiar with the exam of the school. I wonder if you can tell us more about the exam." Lu Qingfeng laughed and said proudly, "I surely know a lot more about the school of martial market than any of you. To be honest, I've been to the school of the martial market and practiced there 7 times before reaching the Black Realm. I've gained a lot each time I visited." There were 103 young warriors of Yinwu Commandery that attended the exam of martial market school last year. 28 of them died and 37 were injured and crippled during the exam. Only 3 warriors had passed the exam and become the external students of the school in the end. Heard what Lu said, many young warriors took a deep breath since they never expected such high death rate. Lu Qingfeng was rather happy to see everybody's reaction, so he continued, "After all, Yinwu Commandery is just an inferior commandery with a population of 80 million. There are only over 100 people to attend the exam each time. I guess you've all heard of Square Commandery. It's a medium-level commandery with a population of 300 million. A few hundred warriors attend the exam each year. There were 36 warriors who had become the external students of the School of Martial Market last year. However, only 36 warriors had passed the exam in Yinwu Commandery. What a huge gap. A warrior that looked 27 or 28 years old gasped. In the Western 9 prefectures, the Square Commandery is the only medium-level commandery equipped with the strongest power. She is 5 times bigger than Yinwu Commandery. Unfortunately, commanderies, who are bound to Square Commandery, have always been oppressed. 2 years ago, near the Mo River, there was a war between us and Square Commandery, which had plotted to capture a mine that located in Omen Ridge of our commandery. However, the military force of Square Commandery was 5 times than ours and she sent 400,000 armies out to defeat us. Unfortunately, that mine had been plundered. It was said that Square Commandery had killed 30,000 of our soldiers, taken away 7 cities and captured millions of people of our commandery in that fight. Those people who had become prostitutes and slaves worked at the mine without any sunlight. Some of them were living incredibly poorly and even being bullied by the people from Square Commandery. What a hate! Looking at Zhang Ruo Chen, who sat aside, Lu Qingfeng said, "If we didn't fight back and let Square Commandery take away our mine, we would definitely be oppressed even more in the future." Everybody signed. They all knew that Yinwu Commandery could not compete against Square Commandery. Even Yinwu Commandery Prince was injured seriously and nearly died in the war 2 years ago. Based on the size of population, territory, and the number of strong warriors, commanderies could be divided into 3 levels, ranging from the inferior commanderies, the medium-level commanderies to the superior class commanderies. Generally speaking, an inferior commandery had a population of less than 100,000,000, medium-level commanderies had a population between 100 million and 500,000,000, almost. All superior class commanderies had populations of over 500,000,000. Besides population size and territory area, the number of warriors should also be taken into consideration. The more martial arts warriors a commandery had, the stronger it was. For example, a commandery could also be thought as a medium-level commandery with a population of tens of millions, only if she had a huge number of warriors of the Earth Realm and the Heaven Realm, Lu Qingfeng said. It is said that Prince Ruochen will lead more than 600 warriors of Square Commandery to attend the exam of the School of the Martial Market this year. Square Commandery had been managing to gobble up Yinwu Commandery. I guess they'll once again suppress our warriors during the exam. They said the reason why so many of our young warriors died in the exam last year was that Square Commandery's students had targeted on them. A young warrior said, "No wonder only 3 of our warriors passed the exam. Square Commandery suppressed us on purpose." It said that Prince Ruochen of Square Commandery is a genius of martial arts who had reached the Black Realm at the age of 17. He is at the same time a tamer who had captured lots of strong beasts. While some warriors were discussing Prince Ruochen, some were worried about the exam of the School of the Martial Market this year. After all, the examinee number of Square Commandery was 10 times than that of Yinwu Commandery. If they were to suppress Yinwu Commandery on purpose, more Yinwu Commandery's warriors would die. At this moment, Zi Qian, who was sitting next to Zhang Ruo Chen, took a thin needle out of her hair and kept it between her 2 fingers without any trace. Her body moved moderately closer to Zhang Ruo Chen. There were altogether 68 warriors riding on the back of the blood-feathered eagle. No one would notice that if Zhang Ruo Chen died under the toxin of the poisonous bee needle. None would know who poisoned him. She was about to stab the needle into Zhang Ruo Chen. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible.